Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something. Izzo.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome, everybody, to Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL in Sioux Falls, KMBN to our friends hello in Rapid City, and everybody watching online at Inforum.com. I am Dom Izzo, host of said show. Welcome, everybody, to the 4th of June, 2026. Ready for a fantastic day. Looks like whatever rain clouds we had are out of here, and ready for a hot weekend, the first one of June. I fully anticipate an empty parking lot here tomorrow at WDAY, since we've reached that part of the year where nobody works on Fridays. We'll be here because we have to be every day. A lot to get to today. We're going to get you to Game 1 of the NBA Finals here in a minute. Fun game last night. The Knicks win again as they beat the Spurs in Game 1. We have the College Bowl schedule. That was released yesterday. I'd like to tell you I have more information than just the dates of the games and the networks and the times the games would happen. In terms of the tie-ins and the affiliations for said games, we don't yet, at least for the Mountain West Conference. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. The Vikings officially introduced their new general manager. You'll hear from him as well coming up later on in the show. I wanted to start just putting a bow on what we discussed yesterday on the show, the main topic, and obviously it was all over our news last night, which was good to see, and on Inforum.com with Beth Maher was here yesterday. And I got a couple messages on this, and it was a couple replies to our social media that put out on Hot Mic for a couple clips yesterday, and many saying it was awesome that Beth was here. What she said was fantastic. I did get a couple asking why I seem to focus on this one more than others. And I'll tell you why. There's 3 reasons on this one. First, I've been doing this for a while here, nearly 2 decades. I've covered, I can't even begin the amount of coaching changes that have been either parent-induced or some impropriety happened to make coach leave. I can tell you on one hand the amount of coaches that have actually spoke to me after the dismissal, and it's one. It was Beth yesterday. I've had from a Davies hockey situation in 2019. Nobody would tell me on the record. Shanley, I've been doing this for 3 separate incidents at Shanley. No one would ever come on and put their name on it. They would talk to me off the record. They would talk to me certainly not on camera, but not like that. So that's number one. That was by far, if we were able to get her, if it was going to be either on Zoom or in studio, then absolutely we're going to clear out, like Jalen Brunson driving to the basket at the end of the game. We're going to make time for that. So that's number one. Number 2, I think the notoriety of the Mahers goes a bit here. This is not, and this is going to sound like it's, what's the right way to describe it? Undercutting others that have had their jobs taken away because parents were unhappy with them. It's not, but they are not, and I said this to them when they were here, and I said it when it happened, this is not your average run-of-the-mill family here. Jared was a Hall of Fame player for North Dakota State. Beth played basketball at NDSU. Their daughter, eldest daughter, is about as well-known in the area. She's singing professionally in Nashville right now, right? I mean, she's sung everywhere in our area. It's not a run-of-the-mill average family here. It just isn't. So there's automatically a newsworthiness to me there. And number 3, and this I think is the most important, it's a female coach in a sport right now that is being dominated by male coaches being forced out, where we're looking for more female and women coaches to take the lead and empower them. Here's one that was told to get out. And that to me is as important as any reason. And it's happened, I'm sure, at other spots. And again, I'll go back to number 1 reason why I made this a big deal. None of them would ever talk to me. Either they were afraid of retribution or wanted to keep coaching, whatever. And in fact, I can tell you, off the number of stories we've done on this, none of them got back into coaching. None of them. The ones that were driven out. Not a single one. And I hope that's not the case with Beth going forward. But I wanted to give that a little bit more runway because I appreciate the comments on it because it does seem unfair to the others that have had their jobs taken away or forced out. But this one comes to 2 reasons, the 2 biggest ones to me. A, she wanted to talk, and she was going to do it on camera. 2, the fact that pretty small right now female to male coaching ratio, especially in North Dakota, and we're losing 1 at the highest level, is not good for anybody. So I appreciate the feedback we got on all of that. And again, if you missed it, you can watch it right now. It's available at inforum.com. It'll be there forever and podcast it as well. So that will put a bow on it. They were ready to move on. I will as well. I was waiting, and hopefully we're going to get the interview. We got it. Now I'm ready we'll move on. And until the next time this happens again, and then we'll rip the lid off of it because it shouldn't happen anymore. And like I said yesterday, it's going to embolden more to do that. Okay. With that, we can now officially start the show. We got a lot to get to on this Thursday. Twins got their brains beaten yesterday. We won't even show that today as they lost to the White Sox. So one interesting note out of Twins camp, Simeon Woods-Richardson was traded yesterday. The Twins traded him to the Blue Jays. He's going back to where he came from for cash considerations, which normally is not a lot. We never actually find out the exact amount in cash considerations. So that trade now that went down, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe longer than that, between Jose Barrios going from the Twins to the Blue Jays for Austin Martin and Simeon Woods-Richardson. Right now, the sterling piece of that trade for Minnesota is Austin Martin. Not what we thought when that deal went down for Barrios going the trade deadline, I want to say in 22 or 23 when he got shipped out of Minnesota. So that was the lone noteworthy note that out of Twins camp, outside of their brains getting beat in by the White Sox, they opened up a series with the Royals tonight. Let's get to Game 1 of the NBA Finals in San Antonio last night. The Knicks off a 10-day layoff after sweeping Cleveland. Facing San Antonio, just beat Oklahoma City in 7 thrilling games. Everybody on the Spurs, that they're the favorites. They've got the future of the league in Wembanyama, that they are going to be the team to beat. Everybody overlooking the Knicks, that they are a heavy underdog. Well, started that way. The Spurs took it right to New York early. Scary play for the Knicks here because Jalen Brunson, their MVP, gets run into here. You can see, grabs his right knee. He leaves, which never happens. Knick fans panicking. Julian Champagnie, who was fantastic against Minnesota, corner 3. The Spurs are loving it. They're up by 4. Another Champagnie 3 in the corner right before the end of the first half. Puts the Spurs up 7. We move to the third quarter. Drive from Dylan Harper. Gosh, he's good. 16 points. The Spurs are up by 8. But the Knicks are hanging around. It's a 1-point lead when Wemby drives and hammers it down. Tie game at 76 going to the fourth quarter. We're tied at 86 now in the fourth, and Brunson was unstoppable. The drive puts the Knicks up by 2. Minute later, Knicks are up 4. Brunson again off the glass. It's a 6-point New York lead. The Knicks fans, they were there, and they were loud. Next Spurs possession off the miss. Josh Hart, who had a monster rebound game, gets it to Brunson. This is where he's so magical. How did he get to the basket there? The Knicks are up 8. San Antonio's cut it to 4. Wemby gets inside and the foul. Here we go. He had 26 and 12. Not a great game for Wemby. We'll show the stats here in a second. Spurs are up 1. Mitchell Robinson saves it. Brunson in the corner. Massive 3. Knicks are up 2. Now it's a 4-point lead. They turn the ball over. Hart gets it. Brunson. Mid-range jumper. Again. How is he making these shots? The Knicks are up 6. He had 13 in the fourth, 30 for the game. The Knicks go into San Antonio and win it 101-95 for their 12th straight playoff win. That's the longest run since the Spurs won that many when they won the championship in 1999 over said Knicks. Brunson, amazing, 30 points, and left the game with injury. We got to talk about Cat here in a second because the defense that he did on Wembanyama was amazing. Cat at 18 and 12. Wembanyama, you see the stat line, right? Which 26 and 12. He was 6 of 21 from the field. The biggest reason why was Karl Anthony Towns and how he played defensively against Wembanyama. He was fantastic in this game as the Knicks steal home court advantage by winning last night. So game 1 in the books. Game 2 will be tomorrow night back in San Antonio. You'll see it live on WDAY, 7:30 on Channel 6 for game 2. Then they'll have 2 days off to travel, so no games Saturday or Sunday, and then game 3 back Monday night. That'll be at Madison Square Garden, and now with a win in their back pocket, it might be that building may actually be shaking when they return to New York for game number 3. How about Cat? He was great last night. He was all up on Wemby the entire game. Just made him take tough shots, got into him. That is defense that I don't know if we ever saw in Minnesota. Frankly, maybe flashes of it, but certainly not consistently like he had last night. Josh Hart also needs his flowers. Yeah, he only scored 3 points. He had 15 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals. That's how you win. The Villanova Knicks, Hart, Bridges, Brunson, fantastic last night as they win game 1. And we'll see. San Antonio normally responds. You remember the Wolves won game 1 in the West semis. Wemby was unstoppable in game 2, and the Spurs won that. And this is how it's gone with Wembanyama. He's had some poor games. You remember in the Wolves series, obviously, he gets ejected in game 4 for the elbow to Nas, and then comes back in game 5. He was sensational. So I think on high alert, the Knicks have to be knowing that Wembanyama is going to be ready to roll on Friday. But how about New York? 12 wins in a row for the Knicks after winning last night. Last thing before we set up the show here on a busy Thursday, and if you weren't watching the basketball game, which is fine, the Twins played during the day. The other major event going on last night was the start of the NCAA Softball Championship Series featuring Texas and Texas Tech. 2 schools right now where their football coaches are talking plenty of smack. The softball game was fantastic last night. It's a 1-0 Texas Tech lead. Mahia Davis gave the lead for Tech. Katie Stewart, it's a 2-run home run. Her 4th straight game with a home run makes it 2-1. Kai Altemeyer will reach on the infield single here. Reese Atwood would come in. It's 3-1 Longhorns. They would add to the lead on this Ashton Maloney triple to score 2. Texas having fun for the reigning champs. They're up 5-1 on Texas Tech. Red Raiders would answer. Mia Williams, who's been great. That is a line shot for a home run. That makes it a 6-3 score. It's 7-3. This the final out of the game on a liner out to left as Texas wins it 7-3. So the Longhorns take game one. This is a best of three. So now Texas Tech has to win tonight to even the series up. If Texas wins, they repeat as national champions tonight. That is on ESPN in Oklahoma City. That is high-level stuff. I know if you haven't watched a whole lot, make some time tonight. You can double screen it up. Make sure you have us on with Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final on the iPad or tablet, whatever, phone, and on the TV have the softball, whatever you want to do. Twins are what they are. We'll have Corey Provis on tomorrow. He'll give us a recap of how they fare against the Royals. But we have a chance for a national champion tonight. Texas to do this, come out of the losers bracket. They won both games on Monday against Tennessee because they had to win twice to get here. Now they're a win away from back-to-back national championships. That's pretty good stuff. We'll see what happens tonight for game number 2. Our guest lineup today is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual, as it is each and every day. Fun show today, like our guests. Coming up at 9:30, I'm really excited to welcome back to our show UND champion runner Jadyn Keeler will join us after winning and setting another record here in Fargo last month of the Summit League Championships. She won up that last week of the NCAA West Regional. She's going back to the NCAA Championships a week from now to compete in the 5,000 and the 10,000 meters. She'll join us at 9:35. At 10 o'clock, fresh off a state championship at Oxbow Country Club yesterday, Kolby Koerner will join us after mastering Oxbow for the last 2 days. Excited to have him join. And a late addition to our show, just found out at 10:35, we'll be joined by Bison Junior guard Andy Stefonowicz will join us to chat about the offseason, getting to know another new set of teammates. He already did it last year with 9 new guys. He's got 9 new guys to meet this year. He'll be back. Crazy, he'll be back for his junior season after leading NDSU to the NCAA tournament this past year. We'll chat with Andy coming up at 10:35. So excited to have him join us to wrap up the show. That and a heck of a lot more here on a busy Thursday. We'll take our first break. We come back. We'll dive into the College Bowl schedule. We know when the bowl games are happening, who's televising them, where the Mountain West plays. That's still a question mark. Hot Mike returns after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com.
This is Hot Mike with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're off and rolling here on a busy Thursday. Jadyn Keeler from UND will join us in about 15 minutes. Looking forward to that. Chat about another trip to Tracktown, USA, and the NCAA Championships. So yesterday, we were anticipating after we got the college football schedule for the first 3 weeks. A week ago Wednesday, turns out the Mountain West decided to unload their entire schedule. So now as you sit here on the 4th of June, you know, which I did not expect, you know every Bison game time and you know 10 of the 12 television channels that they're going to be on for the upcoming year. Fordham and UTEP are waiting in the wings, and hopefully we'll know on that in the not-too-distant future. The other part we didn't know was the bowl schedule. That came official yesterday. And again, this is something in the past that we probably a cursory interest in just because, hey, what games are going to be on around the holidays and that as such. But now this is directly in our wheelhouse because this is going to directly affect potentially North Dakota State football, depending on the outcome of the Division I cabinet, which meets at the end of June to determine if North Dakota State and Sacramento State will be immediately eligible for not only a bowl game, but also for their respective conference championships in the Mountain West and the Mid-American Conference. So humor me, if you will, at least for a few minutes, on the games that became official yesterday. So bowl season officially begin on Saturday, December the 12th with the Celebration Bowl. That'll get things started. You're going to see right away on December the 15th, there is a football game in Frisco, the Frisco Football Classic. You'll remember last year, the Star in Frisco. That's of course, home of the Dallas Cowboys practice facility. We've done many a Fargo to Frisco from outside that place. I think 2 or 3 times I've done it there. We'll host a bowl game. We do not know yet the affiliations for said bowl game, but that is on Tuesday, December the 15th. That is potentially one of the games that the Mountain West Conference could be affiliated with. Another is the one right below it, the Boca Raton Bowl on Friday, December the 18th, which will be a 10 a.m. Central Time start. That also will be on ESPN from Boca Raton. I believe that's the home of Florida Atlantic is where they would play. That's the first couple. Now, if we want to scroll, we get to the Idaho Potato Bowl, which is on December the 21st. That is another, obviously, a bowl game that the Mountain West is affiliated with. That's at 1:30 on Monday, December the 21st on ESPN. The next one, and again, the bowl set out in mid-April because the CFP decided not to expand, that they were going to keep their previous tie-ins for this upcoming year. Problem is the Mountain West lost one of its bowl games. The Mountain West lost the LA Bowl where they had sent their league champion last year. Boise State won the Mountain West last year, and they played Washington at SoFi Stadium. That bowl game is gone. So the Mountain West now needs a new home for its league champion. As we sit here at 9:25 on June the 4th, we do not know yet where the Mountain West champion is going. The next bowl that potentially could see a Mountain West team is the Armed Forces Bowl on December the 23rd. That's in Fort Worth. That is obviously familiar ground for many a Bison fan, and I tell you to pay attention to that day. December the 23rd. Look at the 2 bowl games on that day. You've got the Armed Forces Bowl, and then later that night is the Frisco Bowl, which we know the Mountain West has a tie into that. So here you go. Potentially, we know already one college football reporter has projected North Dakota State to go to the Armed Forces Bowl. That's at TCU Stadium in Fort Worth. Obviously, we know the Frisco Bowl. So that's right before Christmas, folks. That's at either 4:30 or 8 o'clock on December the 23rd. I'll also point out New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve has 2 bowl games that the Mountain West has ties with. The New Mexico Bowl in Albuquerque, and then the Hawaii Bowl, which is played on Christmas Eve night at 6 o'clock in Honolulu. That'd be something else if NDSU has 2 trips to Honolulu this year. But if Hawaii is any good in football, the Rainbow Warriors are going to go there. That's just how the bowls will work on that. So that's potentially 2 games there to keep your eyes on. There's 2 others here. The Cactus Bowl, that's the former Rate Bowl. For you Gopher fans out there, that's the bowl game you went to last year. But a couple changes with it. A, it has a new name, and it needs a sponsor as well. B, it's now the day after Christmas, 6:30 on a Saturday, and I believe it's on ABC. Also, the game is now played at Arizona State. It's back on Arizona State's campus. That game had been played in the Diamondbacks Stadium. Chris Kleiman infamously told me that when Kansas State went there a couple years ago was, I would say, interesting conditions, I think is what Kleiman told me when K-State went there. So that's another potential bowl game that the Mountain West would have. The one game you're not going to see on here that does not have a date to it is, and it's not listed on here because it doesn't have a date and ESPN doesn't control it, is the Arizona Bowl. That is the bowl game that Snoop Dogg bought and is played in Tucson. That's the bowl game that Fresno State won last year, that Matt Entz, in his first year head coach at Fresno, they won that one. That we don't have a date nor a network. The CW picked up that game last year. That is out there. So, a lot to take in here. And there's a couple possibilities. First, NDSU has to be ruled that they're bowl eligible. Second, they have to win 6 football games. I think even your worst projections have the Bison doing that. Even if they were to struggle, which could happen, I still believe they're going to win 6 games this upcoming year, even in their first year of FBS football. Because you look at even all the teams that have transitioned up, from Georgia Southern to App State to Jacksonville State. Sam Houston had a tough ride, and then they got it together. Certainly James Madison has had instant success. Heck, look last year. Mo State couldn't get out of its own way in FCS football. Mo State went to a bowl game. Mo State was really good in Conference USA. And I know Conference USA is not the Mountain West, or certainly when the Mountain West was, but Mo State won a bowl game. I think we can go on a limb here and say that the Bison are going to win 6 games. That these are the possibilities. And if you missed our interview, I was late April with Brett McMurphy, I would strongly encourage you, go back, podcast it, listen to it, because he explained in great detail how the selection process works. And it's completely haphazard. It really is. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Just because, take away the league champion, right? That the league champ is set for whatever bowl game that the Mountain West ends up pairing itself with. After that, it basically boils down to, does ESPN think you'd be a good draw? Are you going to bring some people to the game? And for NDSU fans, well, okay, let's just use Frisco for an example, because McFeely and I were talking about this yesterday. If it is Frisco, the last time the Bison went to Frisco, obviously, was the Montana State National Championship game. It was certainly a Montana State crowd. The Bison had a good amount of people, but not nearly what they had in previous trips. I think people were ready to be done with Frisco. So that would be the ironic part is, hey, first year of FBS, but you're going back to a place that you know 10 times over. How many fans would actually go? That might be, 3,000? 4,000? I don't know. That stadium seats 10,000. The Star does. And what kind of matchup? Right now, according to the ACC website, the ACC would have a affiliation with that bowl game, with the Frisco Bowl. Think about that. Let's just do that for a second. We got to go to break here. But let your mind wander for a minute. If North Dakota State makes that bowl game and plays, I don't know, Virginia? Give me a middle. North Carolina gets its act together. Imagine it's Bill Belichick and Tim Polasek. That's the matchup. Is that okay? Or would you prefer to see Mercer and Southeastern Louisiana again at the Fargo Dome? I don't know. That might be kind of fun if it's North Carolina, North Dakota State in the Frisco Bowl. I don't know. Maybe I'm sure I'm getting the cart way before the horse, but that seems like it'd be a lot of fun. We'll Eric, you got something? We got to go to break quick. What do you got?
Yeah, Snoop Dogg Bowl is December 27th at 4:30 on the CW.
Who's reporting that?
ESPN. There's an ESPN article with all the bowl games out.
I don't know if that's official yet, because I'll take it for your word, but I don't know if that's official yet, because they haven't put that. The Holiday Bowl, the Poinsettia Bowl doesn't have a designation yet, so that would be on a Sunday as well. That would be odd if they're going to play on a Sunday. I don't know. So that's the only part I worry about that, because they're not going to go up against the NFL. Because you said December 27th?
Yeah, that's what it's got on the ESPN article.
Yeah,
so.
December 27th is a Sunday. I would doubt they're going to go against the NFL. That would be stupid. Let's just call it like it is. The FCS did that. How'd that work out for them? So we'll see. But just again, let your mind go there. If it's that matchup, you can't get a Power 4 game maybe right away. You could in a bowl game. We'll see. All right, let's break. When we come back, UND track standout Jadyn Keeler will join us after a Summit League three-peat again, off to the NCAA championships. She will visit with us about heading to Eugene, Oregon next week. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns after this. Welcome back, everybody. We're off and rolling here on Hot Mike on this Thursday. Kolby Koerner from Grand Forks Red River are going to join us in our second hour, fresh off the Class A Boys Golf Championship that he won at Oxbow yesterday. Pretty pumped for our next guest to join us here. This is 2 years in a row, I believe, we've had her on. Getting set to go back to the NCAA Track Championships next week. It begins a week from yesterday in Eugene, Oregon. Tracktown USA, which is the Super Bowl of the sport. For UND's Jadyn Keeler, she goes again for a second consecutive year. She'll run in the 5,000 and the 10,000 meters after qualifying in both last week. And I'll say the gross weather of Fayetteville, Arkansas. And she joins us this morning to chat about. It's great to see you again. Thanks so much for doing this. I got to start first with what happened in Fargo last month to go and win 3 titles again at the Summit League Track Championships. Tell me about that week and what made it so special that you were running so well.
Yeah, that was a really exciting week for our whole program. The Summit League Conference Championships is always a big race on our radar for the year. And we were shooting to try to win potentially our first team title. It was a really close battle between us and NDSU. And, I wanted to score as many points as possible for my team. So I entered in 4 different events, the 1500, 5K, 10K, and 3K steeple. And I won 3 of those and then came second in one of them as well. So it was a really fun weekend, and it was kind of cool to get to do so many races in 3 days.
All right. I believe you talked with my colleague, Sam Getzinger, after the race Friday, the steeplechase. Did you just decide to do that on a lark, just sign up and run? Can you tell me the story on that?
Yeah, well, ahead of time, my coaches mentioned that I'd probably have to run it because I used to be a steepler. I used to do that a couple of years back. So it's not like I've never done it before. But it had been 2 years since my last steeple race. So it was a little scary going back into it, but I actually really enjoyed it again. It was a lot of fun.
So you had not done that event in 2 years?
Yes.
And then you win it?
Yes.
How gratifying was that when you won it?
It was good. It was a solid race.
I guess so. That is the most awkward event because now you're running, you're jumping, you got water involved. Why does that suit you so well?
Honestly, I think I'm not the best hurdler. I can get over them, but I think I just do a good job of running fast in between the hurdles. So yeah, but it is fun. It does take a lot of different technique and a different skill set for sure from regular distance races.
So when we were planning out like our coverage of the meet, I knew the races you were going to run in. It's like, okay, we got to make sure we're here. I did not know you were running the steeplechase. So when Sam told me that you won, I'm like, wait a minute, we weren't counting on that. How much, I guess, for that as well, knowing you guys needed every point you could get, that hey, I'm going to sign up and do it for us to have a chance to win the conference championship.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what being a part of a team is all about, Sometimes you got to make smaller sacrifices for the greater good of the team. So. All
right, so let's go to this past weekend. You had been at the regional meet before. How much did that help, I guess, muscle memory-wise, knowing what to expect, and then conditions-wise as well of what you were going to be running in?
For sure. That definitely helped a ton. This was my 3rd year at the regional championship. So, just knowing the procedures for how everything works, like checking in, getting ready for the race, like I was pretty familiar with that, which definitely helped me from a sense of just being more calm going into racing. And I knew I just had to execute my race plan on the day and get the job done, which I was able to do. So, yeah, that helps for sure.
You broke your own school record in the 5,000. Were you was that a goal, or is that, hey, I know I have to run fast, and if that ends up being the byproduct, then so be it?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that one. I was trying to make it a quick race, but I honestly didn't know my time when I crossed the line, so I was a little surprised because I think I only beat it by like 1/10 of a second. So it was kind of funny that it was that close.
Is that something you look over, or does somebody tell you that afterwards?
I looked on the scoreboard, yeah.
And then did you know right away, like, I got it? Like, I got a record?
No, because I knew my time was 15:26 from earlier this outdoor season. I didn't know what the milliseconds were. So it wasn't until I was driving back home that I think it was Louis. He showed me his phone and was like, hey, you got the record. And I was like, oh, cool.
The fact to qualify, though, again, what did that mean knowing you're going back to Eugene?
That means a ton, especially being able to go into events is really special because, it's one thing to qualify for the meet. It's another thing to be someone doubling at the meet. And I think I just have a lot of unfinished business from last year at that race. So I'm excited to get one final opportunity to race for UND and to go back and try to achieve all my goals.
All right. I know I asked you this last year. I'm going to ask you again. Why would anybody run the 10,000 meters? That to me sounds like just the craziest thing because you're running for basically a half hour. Just tell me why it suits you so well.
I mean, I've just always loved the longer distance races. I think they're fun. And I always say, the 10K to me, it's kind of like a game of just chess where you're matching moves the entire time. It's really easy to, just let up a little bit and to get separated from the pack. but you really got to be able to just dig deep down, match the moves that are made throughout the race to stick with people, because that's the easiest way to run fast is running with other people. So I think it just gives a good challenge, and I enjoy it.
Okay, not you're going to be impressed with this. My fastest 5K I did was like 35 minutes. That was 5K. You're doing 10,000 here. Is there ever a time where you're like, I want this to be over? Is it near the end, or is it just I'm in the zone and I'm set to go?
Definitely near the end of the race. Usually 2 to 3 kilometers, I'm like, all right, I think I'm ready for this to be over soon. But that's when you gotta dig deep down and just get it done.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. From the Summit League meet, you were trailing in that, and then you just kicked it into overdrive, and then basically, forgive the pun, ran away with it. Do you describe that mentality of like, all right, I know when I need to put it into overdrive and go?
Yeah, I was just waiting to see if anyone else took out the pacing at all, because it was pretty windy out there. So I just hung out at the back for, I think, a mile, and then finally just went up to the front to do some pacing for a bit.
I'm interested in that. Is that like an unspoken rule in racing? Like, okay, somebody can go out and set it. We'll share the load on who's going to be the leader. Can you talk a little bit about that?
In the 10K, it's pretty common to see that in races. Not as much championship races, because that's like there's stuff on the line, like trophies or accolades. But it's pretty common in like races where people are trying to just run a fast time, just get a time on the board. It's pretty common you'll see 1 or 2 athletes at the front kind of shifting position throughout the race to just one person lead for a kilometer, the other person lead, just to share a bit of that work.
All right, so now it's back to Eugene. Tell me about, we talked last year you heading out there. You were second-team All-American last year. What that experience was like and how you used that for getting ready for next week.
Yeah, I mean, the experience as a whole was great. Track Down USA, it's such a cool place. The atmosphere was incredible. As for my race, it definitely did not go the way I wanted to last year. While I did get second team, it was far from my goals of what I wanted to achieve. It wasn't the best day for me. But using that, it just gives me even more motivation going into this next week. Knowing what I want to achieve and just remembering how last year went, it just gets me excited to kind of rewrite that story a bit.
How many, Jadyn, do you know, are there women that you competed against or people from last year? Is this a familiar field you're going to see when you're out there for either of the races?
Yeah, a pretty familiar field for both. There's definitely a few new names, but also a lot of people I've raced against in the past, or at least this past season.
How much does that help knowing you know their tendencies or you know what they like to do?
Yeah, it helps a ton for sure. There's definitely a lot of the top girls in the field. Like I'm pretty familiar with like how they run, if they like to hang out at the back and kick at the end, or if they go out hard from the front. So that definitely helps a lot.
So first race I'm looking at is next Thursday, a week from today. It's 9:55, almost 10 o'clock our time here in the 10,000. So you're almost at the end. What is that like, waiting around all day and then you finally get to compete?
Honestly, I think waiting around is the hardest part, because you can't just, be walking around all day on your legs. So you're kind of just stuck in your hotel room trying to pass the time. But usually I can do a pretty good job of that.
What do you do all day? Now I'm curious. Like, you watch a movie? Like, what do you do yourself to make sure you don't get stiff and also stay, you're not ready to go at 10 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, well, I try to sleep in as much as possible, and then, I'll usually go for a short walk in the morning to just, keep the body moving. Usually I'll call people, I'll call my parents, chat with them for a while, and I can talk to them for hours. So, it makes the time go by quick, and then having teammates there helps a lot. I'll have Louis there, so I'm sure we can figure out something to pass the time. And then other than that, sometimes I'll read, sometimes I'll watch TV for a bit. But, yeah, it's pretty much just about keeping off the legs.
Tell me about that, having Louis there. I believe he's in the steeplechase, if I remember correctly. To have another teammate there, what's that mean for – it's not just you this coming week?
Yeah, that's huge. Having another teammate there is great, just to keep you company. And it's great because he's a distance runner as well. So, we can go for easy runs and stuff together. So it just makes it a lot nicer having someone else there going through the same stuff you are.
I may have asked this last year, so I apologize. But now the success you've had, has that changed what you want to do post-college? Are you thinking professionally running? Is that in the future?
Yeah, That's my goal as of right now, is to hopefully sign a pro contract and run professionally.
Describe that. Was that something like getting to UND when you came from Ontario to come to North Dakota? Was that on the radar, or has this all happened in the span of the last 5 years?
Yeah, so, well, it was always a dream 5 years ago. It wasn't something that I really thought would be a reality until probably a year ago, to be honest with you. So it has come up pretty quickly, but I'm so grateful for it. And, it's just, as I said, it's a dream come true for sure.
I'm going to embarrass you on this, but I'm going to ask anyway. How much are you on the Canadian national team radar? Is this something where they know you, or are you up on the, like, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I definitely am in their national athlete pool of being on their radar for national teams. I am trying to qualify for one this summer for the Commonwealth Games, and whether or not I make it on that team, there's a ton of other teams in the future, and I'm hoping to maybe be on the radar for LA 2028 Olympics. So yeah, definitely I'm up there in contention now for those teams, which is really exciting.
So that was my next thing I was going to ask. Like, okay, LA is not that far away. Is that, just saying that out loud, what goes through your mind that this wasn't even a reality 5 years ago? The Olympic Games may be down the road here.
Yeah, no, it's coming up quick. In 2 years' time. So it's something I'm definitely training for and have in the back of my mind right now. So yeah, it's pretty crazy to say out loud.
All right, so I know this is probably a runner's worst thing to ask, but do you have a goal time in mind for either race? Say, if I do this, I'm a first-team All-American, or I have a chance to win. Do you have that in mind?
I would normally have a goal time, but honestly, I think with the way the NCAA is nowadays, with how competitive it's gotten, I can't say there's any one time that would get me that first-team All-American, to be honest with you. I think for the 10K, running a sub-32 10K would hopefully get you that first-team All-American. And for the 5K, probably something low 15s, low 15 minutes. But yeah, it's really hard to say because the level of competition just elevates every meet, basically. So I guess we'll see next week what it ends up.
Are you looking at the weather forecast, or is that you can't worry about it?
I have taken a look at it so far, but I know the weather in Oregon will be a lot milder than where Arkansas was. So,
well, yeah, I was going to ask, do you prefer it being cool, or what's the optimum temperature for you to run in?
Absolutely cool, yeah. Definitely. Oregon, honestly, I think it has phenomenal weather. So
I was going to say, what did you experience last year? And if you have that, does that suit you?
Last year, I think it was around 20 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that converts to in Fahrenheit, but that's a pretty ideal range for me.
Well, that's normally Eugene. You get a bit of everything from just me watching. It either gets temperate, it gets kind of hot, it can get chilly. You could get about, much like North Dakota, you can get about 8 different seasons in about a half hour. I really appreciate you doing this. Thanks so much for the time. Safe travels and good luck. We'll be watching next week in Eugene, okay?
Thank you.
Jadyn Keeler joining us, UND senior distance athlete and 3-time Summit League champion again, winning in the 3,000-meter steeplechase. She won the 5, and she won the 10K a couple weeks ago here. We featured her many times, and I'm super pumped we got her back on again. If you want to watch her compete, next Thursday, a week from tonight, she goes in the final of the 10,000 meters. It'll be at 9:55. I imagine ESPN was televising all this. We'll get you all the TV info as we get closer to it. But that's on next Thursday. And then in the 5,000 meters, she'll race that next Saturday, a week from Saturday. That'll be at about 8:55 Central Time. Don't forget, the Bison are sending 2 decathletes out there. You've already heard from Paul Olson. We'll have my conversation with Zach McGlynn. We'll have that next week on the show. Fantastic interview. Really pumped to show you that. Young man from Stephen, Minnesota, again, came out of nowhere, now a decathlete. That begins next Wednesday in the decathlon and continues on Thursday. Again, that ESPN does a heck of a job with the track championships, and now that every event has its own stream channel, where does that sound familiar? We do that as well. It's a heck of a lot easier to follow the athletes going out there. So appreciate Jadyn giving us a few minutes there. Let's break. We come back. We got some breaking news to share with one of our favorite guests on our show. We'll do that when Hot Mic Hour 1 wraps up on WDAY Extra right after this. All right, wrapping up our first hour. Thanks to Jadyn Keeler for joining us. We'll keep an eye on her and her running next week at the NCAA Track Championships out in Eugene. Want to share some exciting news here as we wrap up our first hour. Congratulations to the herders. Sam just posted this on social media a little while ago. He is now a dad. He says, my wife and I are thrilled to become parents. Says, this is what I know. He's hardcore on his stuff. For readers and listeners, I'll be taking June and most of July off on parental leave. I'll keep the Jersey countdown going, but not always be daily updates. You know what, my man? Welcome to the best club in the world. Super excited for him and his wife, now proud parents of a baby girl. That's awesome, and excited for them. I know we talked to him about it the last time he came on the show a few weeks ago. He was getting ready that it was right in this area. So that's the first. Welcome to June birthdays, man. Best. My sister just celebrated a birthday yesterday, so happy belated birthday to my sister. My dad's birthday is later this month. The Jackmans is in a couple weeks. Kyle Emanuel and his wife Jackie are going to become parents here in the not-too-distant future, so that's pretty good stuff. And appreciate always his contributions, and go enjoy it, man. FCS football will be there. Take some time off and enjoy it. That's awesome. We'll break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. You'll meet the newest state golf champion from Grand Forks, Red River. Kolby Koerner will join us after conquering Oxbow for the last 2 days. That's coming up when we start hour 2 of Hot Mic right after this.
Hot Mic on the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, ready to rock and roll here on a Thursday morning. Bison Junior Guard Andy Stefonowicz going to join us about a half hour. We'll chat off-season here and another wild roller coaster off-season where he's going to have to meet about 9 new teammates. We'll do that in about a half hour's time. But every year we've done this show, I am super pumped that the day after the State A golf tournament, we get to talk to the winner. We've done it forever. We've had Nate Pearl on. We've had some great golfers that end up winning the state championship, and I'm really pumped to have our next guest because he gets to add his name to the list. Grand Forks Red Rivers Kolby Koerner conquered Oxbow over the last 2 days, and he joins us here this morning to chat about becoming the Class A state champion golfer in 2026. Great to see you, man. Congratulations. Just tell me what the last 18 hours have been like after winning state.
It's been an emotional roller coaster for sure because we won individually, but we lost as a team, which is very unfortunate because golf is just as much of a team sport in high school as it is individually. So,
describe your play coming in. Did you feel like you were playing well, or is this I just put 2 great rounds together?
I feel like I put 2 good rounds together. I mean, adversity is going to come in times you don't expect it, and it came at the end of the round yesterday. Making 4 bogeys coming in was not what I definitely intended on doing, but at the same time, you also got to manage your emotions so you can handle that, and I thankfully built up a big enough lead before those last 4 holes to kind of slip a little bit at the end, but I didn't want it to be that way for sure.
I'm sure you wanted it to be, you win by 4 shots and not have to worry about any drama there. Tell me about that, your mental toughness not to get frustrated after you make a couple in a row. I would have broke every club in the bag. How did you stay pretty even? Because you looked even keeled out there down the stretch.
Well, all tournament, I mean, I don't believe in celebrating at all because if you celebrate, your highs are going to be just as bad as your lows. I mean, the way you celebrate and carry yourself on the golf course, if I make a birdie, so what? I didn't win yet, So I was really focused on getting to the finish line without really celebrating until the end. I got a little emotional at the end because I've been through so much, but
I want to talk about that. Our cameras caught it. You went right over, embraced your mom. Tell me about the emotion and why it was so at the top after you won yesterday.
Well, she's seen it all. I mean, we've been together for, since birth. So, I mean, she's seen me lose. She's seen how hard it is on me. But, like, at the same time, it felt like a full circle moment yesterday because I also saw last year's state champion Parker Beck at the end of the tournament, and we got to recreate the photo we took last year. So I mean, it was just kind of a really cool moment for all the guys that have impacted my career.
What was that like going over, tapping that last putt in, knowing you had won? Take me through what was going through your mind, knowing I got it.
Yeah, I knew I had it, but I didn't know the team had it. And I mean, I was super happy in that moment. But about 2 minutes later, I broke down again because I found out that I cost my team the state championship, which it's unfortunate, but I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. But if I could have went back, I maybe would have taken a little bit more time on that putt. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and I still won the state championship. So.
Is it almost bittersweet, Kolby, knowing that now, 24 hours later?
I think yes and no. I mean, it has its pros and cons.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think winning individually was something I've always wanted to do, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't screw it up again because I've been known my sophomore year blew 6-shot lead. Anything can happen in golf. I mean, that's why, you got to stay level-headed the entire way through.
Seemed like it was a very popular win yesterday. We're watching the video here. You're going to hug your mom. A lot of people were really excited for you. Tell me about that. It wasn't just your teammates. There were a lot of people that were excited that you won.
Yeah, everybody knows what I've been through. It's been a really long career with a lot of ups and a lot of downs. And I mean, I definitely feel like every step of the way for me has a purpose, and just shows how much growth you can learn from your mistakes. I mean, and I really feel like I've done that.
What did you do right after? Did you go celebrate, or what, did you have a chance to exhale, or not yet?
Well, I went into the locker room for a moment just to collect myself before I went out for the awards ceremony. Then we went out to the tavern after to celebrate. It was great.
Did you treat yourself a little bit? What did you have? Did you have some supper? What did you do?
We had a large pizza. I didn't eat pizza before the tournament because it makes you feel a little bit heavy, but afterwards I treated myself to that pizza.
Good for you, man. That's fantastic. What about Oxbow suited your eye so well? Tell me, because I think that's the toughest course in North Dakota. Why was it, I will say, easy for you the last couple days?
Well, I definitely wouldn't say it was easy by any means because Oxbow always is going to show its teeth. I mean, the water, I did a very good job. I almost did in the water twice my second round, but we got just over the water, and I feel like if you avoid the water out there, it's a very easy. I know my teammates had a few water balls in there as well, so maybe that altered the outcome a little bit, but everybody's going to have a bad day. And I just got to realize, I had a bad day last week at the EDC tournament teeing off from the wrong tee box. So, it happens to everybody. But Oxbow really shows its teeth to everyone, and it just matters when it happens.
What happened there on the wrong tee box thing?
Well, the guys running the tournament told some people that they were playing we were playing the black or the blue tees, but then they didn't tell us. And then we get the black and blue combo up until 17, and then they were right next to each other about 6 feet apart. And I hit from the black tees, and I found out 2-shot penalty had to retee right after making an 8 on that hole before. So my head was kind of spinning, and that's kind of how I threw away my chance at the EDC championship. Wow. But nobody remembers who wins EDC. So
wow, how frustrating was that?
It was frustrating, but at the same time, all year I've had to deal with coming from behind. And it was kind of nice to be able to play with a little bit of a lead yesterday because I've played with a lead before, and sometimes it doesn't always go your way. But I felt really calm yesterday just because I knew I wasn't going to celebrate anything until the very end. So
to have Riker right there, Grenacher, and you know how good of a player he is, how much was that, almost match play a little bit yesterday?
Oh, yeah. No, the back nine, it was strictly match play, I feel. Just not trying to give up too much shots to him. He made a nice little 3 on hole number 4 yesterday, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. Because it would have been just a 1-shot lead, but I made my birdie putt on number 4, and then it was kind of just match play from there on out because Riker, he's a great player. He's going to probably win it next year or the year after that. He's got a great short game, and he's just got to get a little bit more distance, but he's came a long way since his 7th grade year for sure.
Was golf always number one, Kolby? Was there another sport that you loved, or has it always been golf?
It was golf about age 13.
Yeah.
I played football, and then coaches didn't really care for me there, so I kind of branched off, quit baseball, and I went into golf. And I played golf since age 3, but like it was never number one. I always thought I was going to be a baseball player. So
When did it click for you with golf? Was it right away, or did it take a little bit?
it was right after I went to Mayville to see my swing coach Dale Helm as well. I mean, you might know him. He taught Amy Olson as well. So after going to Dale, and he showed me that it's not always golf isn't a beat it game; it's a target game. It really started to click for me that I could maybe be something in golf, even though it took a little while because it always takes time.
Tell me about your team's year. You guys were on top. It seemed like almost every EDC event, looking at like, oh, Red River won again. You were telling me off air, I was just looking at Rose Creek in early May. You guys shot 290. And correct me if I'm wrong, weather was not great that day.
No, it was a lot worse than the EDC tournament. But at the same time, we have that kind of grittiness where if the weather's cold, I feel like I definitely play better in the cold and the rain because I know I'm not going to make a ton of birdies. I just don't want to make a ton of bogeys as well. So I play extra smart and safe. But when it's a calm day, our expectations were way too high, I felt like. And that's probably what caught up to us, thinking, oh, we got to shoot good instead of we can't shoot bad in the cold, So,
So you're one of the rare ones that you actually play better when it's bad out?
I would say, we played in a tournament just like 3 weeks ago in the dust storm. It was blowing 30, gusting to 55, and I shot 1 over par at the Grand Forks Country Club, and there was literally dirt and soot under my eyes after the game. So it was.
That is tough. Tell us what's beyond now. What's next for college and what's ahead?
Well, college, I'm gonna go play golf. I'm not sure what I'm studying yet, but I'm also gonna continue my photography career as well. I really enjoy that as well. It's super fun to be able to be around the sports world all year round instead of just like my golf season. So
that's a perfect segue because I wanted to ask you about that because I think maybe people may know you more from that than golf. Tell me about photography and why that is a passion for you.
Well, I never really thought I'd be a photographer, but after I helped a friend at a basketball game, Hudson Murphy, it just clicked from there. I really never thought of being like a part of the game because a photographer isn't like a fan, and I stopped caring about how the referees called the game. I really actually became friends with the referees, and it's just super neat because, nobody else can really do like what I do. A camera is going to always be better than an iPhone, and it's just super neat to be able to connect with all these kids and other media guys like Dave Sampson, Chris Flynn around the area as well.
Were you talking to them when you were out at the golf course this past couple days? You getting pointers?
I talked with Chris and Ryan and Aaron from KVRR as well. It just kind of brought a little bit of connection, like a little bit when we were walking to some of the tees. I was like, okay, I got you a clip on that one when I made that putt, for your show. So it was just like, it's so nice though to be able to have those other connections besides just like kids and family for sure.
Have you been hired to do things yet?
Oh yeah, no, I had to file taxes last year. So I have made my fair share, probably more than like 15,000 last year alone. So it was a really good year. And I'm just making a big purchase here this next week on a new camera.
Ooh, so upgrading.
Yes.
What has been the maybe most nerve-wracking thing you've shot? Like a prom or what is like, hey, this is a big deal. People are going to remember this for a long time. You got to get the shot right.
I would have to say probably like at the end of the basketball games, the state championships, for sure. When everybody's running onto the court, you don't have much time to like really know like where to be. So it's all about like kind of, I don't know, instinct at the same time and just hoping that you get the right shot because it's kind of luck at the same time.
Photography, when did that passion start? Was it just out of the blue, or is that something you've always had?
Right before my sophomore year of golf, it kind of started, but I wasn't like good. You can look back at all my stuff when I started. It makes me kind of cringe, but it doesn't matter. It's all about progress, know. So I really do enjoy though making progress and being able to learn something new every single time I go out because you can learn something from people younger than you or older than you as well. So
now on the flip side, have people taken photos of you golfing, and do you analyze that? You analyze your golf swing through photo or video?
I don't analyze through photos, but I do videos. And also, I don't know if you know what the meta glasses are, but I also have used them to analyze my putting stroke a little bit, because you can kind of see what you're doing with your putting stroke. And it's been kind of neat to work with my coach, because my coach isn't super techie, but he's been able to kind of look at some of that stuff as well.
How's that work with those on?
It just kind of gives you a straight down look at what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you can see your feet and where your putter's aimed. And we don't use it a ton, but we have used it when I really struggled with my putting, which just came a long way as well. Maybe not at the end of the round yesterday, but
hey, you know what, man? You made enough putts to do it. Two last things before I let you go, and I really appreciate you making time for us this morning. What's the summer schedule like? Are you playing a lot this summer, or are you going to take a little bit of a break?
Like I said, tomorrow I'm back to work. I got to get ready for the Red River Amateur here in a couple of weeks. I'm going to try and prove to a lot of the college coaches that passed on me that I'm able to play at the D1 level, because I do strongly believe I'm capable. It sounds bad, but I feel like my class is very competitive, and 2027 has a lot more spots. It's unfortunate that I'm done with this, but I feel like if I were to graduate next year, I probably would have had one of the top spots at like NDSU or UND, but it is what it is. I'm hoping to maybe play my way out of UMC a year or two, but at the same time, I really do enjoy the campus there because I'll be with my brother. So
that's pretty good stuff, but I appreciate your honesty on that. I always ask any golfer that comes on this. You have one hole to play. You have one club. What's the club you're going to play that hole with? What's your favorite one in the bag? If you had to just use one, which one are you going to use?
I would probably have to say my 9-iron. I mean, it goes about 155, and it usually goes very, very straight. So, I mean, I feel like if you can hit something dead straight every single time, that's important. I mean, and I really do enjoy my 9-iron. It's probably one of my favorite clubs. I mean, if not my favorite club. It definitely played a big role in yesterday's game round because, I mean, it hit a few shots to like 10 feet.
You ever had to putt with one of those things?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When we're playing for fun, sometimes we don't even bring out the putter because
That's fantastic. Kolby, this was awesome, man. I really appreciate it. Congratulations on the state championship. I hope to see you out at Moorhead in a couple weeks, and thanks for doing this morning, okay?
Thank you, Dom. I appreciate everything.
There he is, Kolby Koerner, joining us from Grand Forks, Red River, the newest Class A boys state golf champion, and a pretty darn good photographer as well. If you missed that, you can check out. His photos are really darn good, and he's learning from one of the best, and our guy, Dave Sampson. That's awesome, and appreciate his time. State champion golfer for Grand Forks, Red River in 2026. We'll see him in a couple weeks over in Moorhead at the Bell Bank Red River Amateur, which begins, 3 weeks from tomorrow. We'll be out there at Moorhead Country Club. All right, let's break. When we come back, we'll hear from new Vikings general manager Nolan Teasley about taking over. Some interesting comments he had yesterday. Don't forget Andy Stefonowicz coming up as well later on here in this hour. Back on Hot Mic right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Our thanks to Kolby Koerner. That was good stuff. So yesterday was the big day for Viking fans. They got a chance to meet the new guy who's going to be running their drafts going forward. Of course, the news broke out over the weekend that Nolan Teasley was going to be hired as their next general manager. They decided to go outside the organization to hire him. Of course, he comes from Seattle after being the assistant GM for the last 13 years working with the Seattle Seahawks, and, of course, built that team. From what we know, had a pretty good hand in their draft, certainly in the drafting and selecting of Gray Zabel as their first-round pick last April. The Seahawks go on and win the Super Bowl, and Zabel was a huge part of that as he started all 20 games for the Seahawks on their offensive line. They brought in Sam Darnold from Minnesota. So there are connections here, and if John Schneider, who's the general manager who's led two different Seahawks teams to Super Bowls, you get signed off on him, that means you probably know what you're doing. Yesterday, he met with the assembled media down at TCO Performance Center in Eagan to chat about his personal philosophy, where this team is going to go. And the intriguing part about this is he's coming in after basically all the decisions have been made. It's after free agency. It's well after the draft. The team is assembled for 2026. Now, there may be some minor tweaks that come over the next handful of weeks, but basically it's now this is what the team is going to be when they go to minicamp next week. They'll break after that, come back, and then in training camp, they'll have to make some decisions on what the 53-man roster is going to be. But this is unlike any GM hire in recent memory that I can think of, because it's not. He didn't come in before the draft. He didn't come in before free agency. He wasn't hired in January and asked to hire a coach. All of that is in place. The Vikings signed Kyler Murray. They re-signed Carson Wentz. They signed Jawan Jennings as a free agent as a wide receiver. So the pieces, they made the trade of Jonathan Grenard. Like, all of that has already happened here. That's the team is basically, it's like the meal is already prepared. Now it's time to eat it. It's a much different situation for a lot of general managers. Here's what we had to say yesterday about taking over with the Vikings.
It was always going to take a special opportunity to leave a special place in Seattle. And as I progressed through this process, it became very clear that the Minnesota Vikings were just that. They were that opportunity. And it's because of a strong leadership who's in ownership, whose reputation is obvious, their commitment to supporting their people, providing the resources needed to compete and ultimately win championships. To have a head coach the caliber of Kevin O'Connell, who is an elevator, he's a leader of men. He believes in supporting people and building culture. This is a premier coaching staff under Kevin that has been built in the National Football League. Rob Brzezinski being here is an incredible asset. He is the ultimate team player. And Rob, I want you to know I cannot wait to work with you and learn from you as we move forward into the future. The roster, it's obvious it's a strong nucleus of talent on both sides of the ball. They've won a lot of football games here in the last 4 years, including 5 in a row to end last season. And I look forward to being a part of that and building toward more opportunity and more wins in the future. And last but certainly not least, it's a passionate fan base with a lot of history, and I look forward to building upon the fact that U.S. Bank Stadium is already one of the toughest environments to play in sport, and it's because of those fans. I talked about for a long time that I always had aspirations of being a general manager. It wasn't necessarily the goal. The goal was to be where my feet were and learn and progress in that way. And so that's why I needed a minute. This is an amazing day, and I'm so very appreciative of being here.
And Nolan, between his high football acumen, being around, and again, John and the Seattle organization, allowing Nolan to be participating in so many pieces of the organization has just made him to be a really strong leader, and he stood out that way. And I think it's a great fit here.
So a couple things more from Mark Wilf here, that he said that Teasley will have full control of the Vikings 53-man roster. Both the GM and Kevin O'Connell will report to ownership. Rob Brzezinski, who was the interim GM after Kwesi Adofo-Mensah was fired, so he ran, when did that happen? February? It was in February because there was 2 monster moves that happened. No. Yeah, maybe it was around. Yeah, because Derek Falvey left. It was January. Falvey left or quit or let go from the Twins, and Adofo-Mensah was fired by the Vikings. Rob Brzezinski will return to his role, according to the Star Tribune, overseeing the Vikings salary cap, and will be part of the team's football operation and report to Teasley. Wilf talked on Wednesday about how the Vikings view the structure as one that will give them experts in 3 different areas of their football operation. Ben Gessling adds, who writes the story for the Star Tribune, that Teasley also modeled a level of connectivity the Vikings sought from their next GM after Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah struggled to build strong working relationships across departments. In Seattle, Teasley worked closely with coaches, sitting in on meetings. You saw that photo to learn what they needed to run their systems. It became a bridge between the scouting and analytics departments, translating how scouts saw players into a quantifiable metric. And I know for some Viking fans will be rolling their eyes like, wait a minute, didn't we just have this with the last guy? I think this guy seems to have more relationships with everybody, between coaches and players, to translate that. Again, as I mentioned before we played his interview, that the pie has been made. Now it's about evaluating if the pie is any good, right? We talked about it on the show yesterday. I would love to, inject him with truth serum and ask, would you have signed Kyler Murray? He's seen Kyler Murray up close more than anybody after being the assistant GM with the Seahawks for the last 10 years. What do you have drafted J.J. McCarthy? What does he make of McCarthy? Is this a time to cut bait? I think there's a lot on the outside that are saying it's number one is Kyler Murray, number two is Carson Wentz, and J.J. McCarthy is looking to play elsewhere in 2026, which is bold if you're going to give up on the number 10 overall pick after 2 years and just he's not ready to play. I'd love to hear that answer. Of course, I'm sure he was asked yesterday. He's going to lie because that's what people do in those positions. But I'd be really interested to hear his thoughts on would he have been gung-ho on signing Kyler Murray. We'll see. But that's the new guy running things for the Minnesota Vikings. As the Vikes will have their OTAs next week. They'll break, and then we are not that far. I was going to say Mankato. We're 6 weeks away from them resuming in Eagan to get ready for training camp, which is crazy to say that out loud. All right, we'll break. When we come back, excited to have Bison junior guard Andy Stefonowicz join us. Chat about coming back for another year of Bison basketball and having a brand new team with him. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns after this. Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour here on a busy Thursday morning. Got some breaking Bison football news to share before we get done. It's not really breaking. It's kind of related, but we'll get to it before we say goodbye here on a Thursday. Pretty pumped for our next guest to join us, who I've been bugging for about 4 years now. He's an old vet for the Bison men's basketball team. He signed up for another year of Richmond yelling at him, so he must be crazy in his own right. As we welcome on soon to be junior guard Andy Stefonowicz back with us here on Hot Mike on this Thursday after a Summer League championship run that, of course, went to the NCAA tournament and matched up with Michigan State. It's great to see you. But I have not talked to you since the trip to Buffalo, so I know the game didn't go how you wanted, but tell me about playing in the NCAA basketball tournament.
Yeah, it was great. It was really cool, cool environment, fun atmosphere, just like cool overall experience. Obviously, like you said, the result wasn't really what we wanted. Obviously, we'd rather have a better game than that, but it's cool to experience, and we hope to get back there again.
Just, you've grown up watching it. Did it take a second, like on Wednesday when you were there, like, okay, I'm going to play in it now?
Yeah, I did. Like, just kind of back behind the scenes stuff, just how well they treat you, just from when we got to the hotel and all the stuff we got, and just going to the arena, just the VIP type stuff almost. It was all pretty cool and kind of cool experience.
How is it playing in a hockey arena though?
Yeah, it was pretty large. I mean, it was still cool atmosphere. They kind of packed it out, so it was pretty cool.
So obviously it's been another busy off season. You've been through this now twice over. Tell me, you knew obviously a few guys were going to go. How do you handle that, knowing, all right, I'm going to stay, but know full well that many others are going to leave?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I kind of went through a little bit last year too. Obviously, it's different every year, and it's kind of how it is around the college basketball world. You obviously just kind of get to know your guys, and then end up going somewhere else. You kind of have to start over almost. So it's hard, but it's how it is, and you just kind of learn to adapt to it and just start building new relationships right away.
Well, tell me about your decision. Like, was there any wavering, or was this, hey, I'm here, I'm committed, I'm going to stay here?
No, yeah, there wasn't really much wavering. I really close with Coach Richmond and the staff, so just kind of right away when people started to head out and stuff, Coach just kind of in my ear, just making sure we could keep this thing going and stuff like that. So I feel like yeah, there's no wavering. We just there's the trust thing there, so we just kept it going.
It sounds crazy to ask this, but you did it before. Does it make it easier that you saw 9 guys leave last year and do it all over again? That, okay, I know what I'm dealing with?
Yeah, for sure. It'll be a little different this year just because, last year, obviously, Damari and Noah were kind of the vet guys. And now, like, me and Carson Smith would kind of be those guys this year. So kind of more like a leadership aspect to it. But, it's kind of similar, but obviously just kind of have to learn to gel with the new guys.
How does that role suit you, being a leader? I know you did it in high school, being a leader now here in college.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Coach Richmond obviously has kind of told me to keep stepping up, kind of use my voice more. So I'll definitely need to work on that this year and kind of just being one of the guys that's been through it 2 years already. So just kind of use my voice more.
All right, I can say this here. You got robbed last year because I had you all first team. So the fact you got honorable mention is a joke. But tell me about your game, elevating as such. It started, I thought, at the Summit League tournament 2 years ago because you were great in that game with South Dakota. What did you take on last year to say, okay, I have more responsibilities this past year?
Yeah, I'd say, just learning a lot my freshman year and just going into the summer, just expanding my game, just being confident and just, just having trust in that, my first year kind of was a little bumpy and stuff like that, but just keep trusting the process and just keep staying in the gym really is all to it. So just kind of kept elevating my game.
To have the success to go with it, Andy, not only personally, but obviously team success, how much – I guess you want that again, to go up there. I talked to you right after you guys were cutting the nets down in Sioux Falls, say, you know what, we can do this again.
Oh, yeah. No, it's cool. Once you get there, it's kind of just that feeling you want to have it again. So that's definitely what I'll be what we'll be chasing this year is just kind of get back to that mountaintop.
The offseason now with a brand new team becomes even more important. We were visiting off air that you get back together. Report day is Saturday. So what is the time we don't see? How much does that pay off then come November?
Yeah, a lot. I'd say just on the weekends and stuff, we don't have a lot of basketball going on. So kind of just grabbing all the new guys and hanging out and kind of building that chemistry and get to know each other because we're kind of complete strangers right now. So just kind of gelling. They're all good guys from what I've seen so far. So it'll make it easy because, Coach doesn't recruit any bad guys, all good dudes. But, just kind of getting to know each other on a personal level, and that'll just kind of translate as we get going here.
Was there a time, like, you noticed, hey, it clicked? Like, last year, we're a pretty good group. When did you realize that we've got something here?
Yeah, there's different points. I mean, it's kind of a long season, so there's points where you kind of not playing your best and go through some rough patches. But I don't know if there's, like, a specific point, but kind of after that El Paso tournament where we lost 2 before break and then going into Summer League play, we kind of just like flipped a little bit of switch and just knowing that we have to stay together if we want to make a run at making the tournament and winning a championship.
And obviously that ended up happening. It was a fantastic year to follow, and North Dakota State won the Summit League for the first time since 2020, went back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2020. I mentioned we've had more than a handful of your new teammates here on the show. Some you've met, some you'll meet for the first time on Saturday. What's that like when you're meeting guys for the first time, not only as humans, but then as basketball players?
Yeah, it's going to be cool. I'm super excited to meet all the guys I haven't met so far. I think, it'll be fun to get in the gym, too, with them right away, just to kind of feel their games out and, like, get to play with them a little bit, too. So I'm just excited for that, too.
So we had Jack Robinson on. He mentioned you a ton. Tell me about your relationship with Jack and how far back that goes.
Yeah, it goes back to maybe even like fourth, fifth grade where we started playing AAU together. And yeah, we've been pretty close since. I was just golfing with him last week even. So even when we're back home on breaks, we hang out. So I just can't wait to play with him again. It's gonna be fun.
Well, give us the 401. Can he hoop? What kind of player are we gonna see here in Fargo?
Oh yeah, he can definitely hoop. He can shoot it. He's versatile, and yeah, he'll fit in well with us.
How much were you, knowing he was thinking about leaving, were you in his ear saying, hey, we may have some spots up here?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him a little bit just when he kind of entered the portal and stuff. I don't want to be like too pressure on him just because he's like my good friend. Obviously, I don't want to, get in the way of the relationship. But now it's like, yeah, we'd love to have you. I know Coach Richmond reached out to him when the portal opened and stuff. So it was just fun to, get that deal closed.
Does Minnetonka, Lakeville North, is there basketball rivalry there that I'm not aware of? Can you share a little bit or not really?
Yeah, we never actually played them in all of our years, which is kind of crazy because we played Lakeville South a few times and like Shakopee and people in his conference, but we played them in fall league a few times, but never in the real season, which is kind of surprising, honestly.
Yeah, I know there is a little bit in football, but I didn't know if there was in basketball. So obviously you have a connection there. And then not only of the new players, transfers coming in, you have a huge freshman class that's in as well, which sounds crazy now. You're an old vet. What do you remember about coming in and getting used to things when just a few years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty nervous. Obviously, it's just a lot of change, just kind of leaving home for the first time and stuff like that. But, the older guys, when I was coming in, were super cool and super welcoming. So I'll make sure to be that for the new guys this year and, just be supportive of them for sure.
Another freshman in Max Iverson. We've had Max on a couple times, and he was unbelievable at the state tournament for Maple Grove. Tell me about your relationship with Max and what kind of player is coming to Fargo.
Yeah, he was always like 2 years younger than me for Team One Tyus, our AU program growing up. So I always kind of grew up with seeing him play and stuff like that and seeing him develop. He could always shoot it really well, still can, obviously. He had that really good game in the tournament this year. But yeah, he's a good dude. I was working out with him the other week actually, so we're kind of just talking about the summer, and I know he's excited to get up here too.
Tell him about what Richmond is like. You give him a heads up of what it's like to work on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, he watched a few practices last year, so I think he has some knowledge of it, but he'll be ready for it.
Just thinking back from a couple years ago, as a freshman, when did you feel like, okay, I think I got it? When did you feel like you were in with the team?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of took a little bit, just like the first few months, just kind of traveling with the guys and stuff like that, just a whole different experience. But once we got rolling and stuff, and towards the end, like the summer league, summer league tournament, like you said, just kind of building confidence and just kind of getting able to show my game off a little bit was cool towards the end.
So in the off season here, for people that you could maybe put the curtain back, what's it like for a student athlete here? School's done. Give us what the next 6-7 weeks are like on your schedule.
Yeah, I love the summer. It's no class for me this summer, so it's pretty nice. But yeah, we just workouts, kind of do some group stuff and some team stuff towards the end of the week, and probably 4-ish lifts a week with Coach Miller. So kind of do heavy on that. But yeah, kind of just hang out with the guys and get to know them all.
What are you benching right now?
Probably close to 185, I think.
There we go.
Yeah, we're getting up there. Coach Miller's helping me with that. So.
Do you follow when the schedule stuff? Hey, look, we're gonna play here. Is that something you follow? Or you know what? Just tell me when the whole thing is done.
Yeah, I hear different stuff throughout the summer with that, but I kind of like to when it's all finalized, whenever that releases, when I really get a peek at it. But because there's always rumors and stuff, so I don't really pay attention until it's out for real. But yeah.
Is there now through 2 years through the Summit League favorite spot to go to, least favorite spot to go to?
I don't know. SDSU, I mean, we've won there the last 2 years too, which makes it better. But they have a nice gym, nice atmosphere, so that's always fun to play there and win there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, wherever we're winning, honestly.
Well, you could smack talk Denver now. They're gone. You had a pretty good game. You had a pretty good game in Denver last year. What about that place out there?
Yeah, I mean, usually, my freshman year, they didn't have much of a crowd, but last year they had a good crowd, so that made it a little more fun. But yeah, I didn't love, it's kind of the elevation thing. You kind of lose your breath a little quicker, so maybe that's probably my least favorite. But yeah, we don't have to worry about that this year. So
I'm contractually obligated to ask, when's the last time you played your dad one-on-one? When's the last time that happened?
Ooh, it's been a while. He kind of just sticks to horse games now because he's a little older, so we do that. But yeah.
How's that go?
He can still shoot it really well, so sometimes he's close, but usually I beat him.
Have you seen videos of your mom and dad playing up here or photos? What kind of, I guess, history did you know prior to coming up here?
Yeah, I've seen old tapes, just kind of different awards and stuff. I've seen stuff from my dad, high school stuff when he was Mr. Basketball and stuff like that, and then obviously my mom too. So yeah, I don't know. I've seen a lot of tapes, but I could definitely ask to see more for sure.
What did you seeing the old BSA, especially when your mom and certainly your dad played? What comes to my seeing the place as crazy as it was, and the Shack's been pretty good, but man, that was wild when your mom and dad played.
Oh yeah, no, it looked really cool. I actually I went to some games a lot when I was really little. I don't remember completely, but I remember the atmosphere was always crazy in that place. So it was cool.
All right, what's on tap today here? What you got planned for the rest of the day?
Some of the new guys are getting into the apartment here, so
Okay.
I'll probably help them move in a little bit. Maybe, go back to the gym later and see what everybody's up to. So just hanging out.
Well, that's a workout in its own right, man, helping people move. I can tell you that.
Exactly.
So, it's great to catch up. Thanks so much for doing this, bud. Be well. Have a great summer, and we'll catch up soon, all right?
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
There he goes.
Yeah.
Andy Stefonowicz joining us, North Dakota State junior guard, one of 3 members back for next season. He, along with Riley Massey and Carson Smith, are the 3 holdovers. After that, you've got 6 transfers coming in. You've got 5 freshmen coming in. It's a brand new look for a team that I imagine probably will be, just because they won it last year, will they be the preseason pick? Who knows? You know how I feel about the Summit League preseason bowl. I have a vote on it, and it's just like I'm just going to close my eyes and throw a dart because that's pretty much what it's like now for mid-major basketball. All right, let's take a break. We come back. Eric will give us some breaking news on his favorite team that I'm sure he's going to celebrate thoroughly, and we'll get you out the door. Hot Mic Wraps on WDAY Extra right after this. Welcome back, everybody, as we wrap things up on a Thursday morning. Little bombshell of news coming out of the National Football League. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting that Green Bay wide receiver Christian Watson and the Packers reached agreement today on a 4-year, $110.5 million contract extension that includes a $31 million signing bonus. The former North Dakota State wide receiver was selected in the 2nd round of the 2022 NFL Draft with the 34th overall pick. We were here that night when it happened. Thanks to our friends at Spot Track. If you guys are a fan of sports, business, and contract, it is the best website. They already have this updated. So I went and looked here. Wide receiver contract value rankings in 2026 to see where this would now rank in terms of contract value. Not total, but contract value. Jackson Smith and Jigba, who signed a huge deal early this offseason, is number 1. Then Jamar Chase. Drake London just got paid at $141 million. Justin Jefferson, remember his deal was just a couple of years ago. It was all the way down to 4. Watson comes in at number 12 now, just ahead of DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, A.J. Brown, who's been in the news this week, who was just traded to the Patriots, Calvin Ridley, Cortland Sutton, Jalen Waddle. Watson is ahead of those guys. The only ones ahead of him now are Alec Pierce out of Indianapolis. I have no idea who that guy is. I'm not a great Colts mind. T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, Amon-Ra St. Brown, my guy Garrett Wilson, who the Jets are paying $130 million and they can never throw him the ball, DK Metcalf, and CeeDee Lamb. Our resident Packers, Rube, I'll defer to you. What do you make of $110.5 million for Christian Watson?
I love it. I mean, I feel like it's a steal for Green Bay, especially because they also have their other top wide receiver signed as in Jayden Reed, and they got him for cheap. 3 years, $50.25 million. That's cheap for a wide receiver. So I'm pretty pumped to have these 2 guys locked up for the foreseeable future.
And the news yesterday that Micah Parsons will be back by week 4. You're ready to tip some cars.
I don't want him to come back week 4.
Why not?
Because they're playing in Tampa. That's hot and humid. Come back like when they're playing in Lambeau. Like, just take it easy. Come back like middle of October. Be healthy.
When did he get hurt? How late in the year?
December 13th.
Okay, so, I mean, that's aggressive if he's back by end of September, early October from a torn ACL. That's
9 months.
Yeah, that's still pretty good. Adrian Peterson broke the record on coming back from that, and it thinks like everybody can now because Mahomes is going to try and do it as well. And Mahomes got hurt. Was it the same weekend that?
I think so.
Well, the same weekend that he got hurt. So we'll see. The fact he wants to be back week 1 does Mahomes. We'll see on that. But big news there on Christian Watson. We'll see. The Packers, they're doing their OTAs now, correct? So maybe he'll speak today with the media, and we can have some sound with him tonight on the sports, and then certainly tomorrow on Hot Mic. Before we get to what to watch, little heads up scheduling tomorrow. Pretty cool about this. Minnesota Golden Gopher Riley Sunram will join us tomorrow on the show. Pride of Kindred, North Dakota. Chat about getting ready for year 3 in Minneapolis, and also about fellow Kindred Viking Luke Starcevic committing to Clemson. That's on the show tomorrow. Let's do some what to watch before we get out of here. All right. right, What to Watch brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. Here we go. We got Game 2 tonight. Golden Knights and the Hurricanes. With Vegas winning the series so far, 1 game to none. Game 2 Saturday night. You'll see that on ABC on WDAY, and then Game 4 will be a week from Tuesday. Also, we got Game 2 Texas and Texas Tech on ESPN at 7. The Longhorns win; they win the national championship, and the Twins open up a series with the Royals 6:30 tonight on Twins TV. Our thanks to Jadyn Keeler, to Kolby Koerner, and to Andy Stefonowicz. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay of our show on WDAY+. Have a great Thursday, everybody. Enjoy the hockey tonight, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.